PhD in IT. So my focus is really on trying to come up with some framework to manage cloud computing. I think majority of us, we know this. I think they're no longer buzzwords now; they are reality out there. So my focus on that research is around that. And today's session, we are excited to be joined by Walter Tobejani. I'll just also give him opportunity just to introduce himself, and then we will dwell much in terms of what our focus today is, which is today we just like to wrap up our last 5 sessions around the data analysis using Excel. And Walter, he will then comes in where he will be, giving us the more information around other data analysis tools which are out there. Walter?
Yeah, thanks, Tuke. So, hi everyone. So my name is Walter Tuvejani. So Mutluke is not like my brother or my cousin, but we know each other from the place called Mrapaneng there. But yeah, we've been engaging quite a while, especially in this field of IT. I've been quite also in that field as well. I'm quite like involved with multiple industries where I've dealt with like within data analytics space, within security and revenue assurance as well. So yeah, so currently I'm in banking, looking after the risk within like banking systems. Yeah, so welcome today. I'll just give you a brief of what I know and how that can also, help you guys in your field of work as well. Thanks.
Yeah, great. Thank you. So yeah, this is the, as you can see from the presentation, right? This is just the rough idea of what I like us to go through, right? We had the 5 sessions, and I thought today we can just open up to be more interactive in terms of people, asking some questions on the types of the topics that we touched on, like, self-formatting, the formulas and the functions, the pivot charts and the tables. So, and then of course, the last one that we did last week was the on Vlookup and other functions, right? So my aim was today is to say the first session, maybe in the next 20, 25 minutes, we just touch base on this session that we went through to find out if is there any question that one has around that. And of course, the second round of our session, we will then give Walter opportunity to talk around the BI and the audit common language that we will talk about, and of course, Microsoft Access database, right? So colleagues, I think let's see, this is open session for anyone to give. We're also open to give us some feedback and some advice in terms of how do we going forward approach this, or what other topics that you may like to engage us on. And as I've mentioned, we like to, I believe majority of you may be coming from different sectors. We are also open for such. If maybe you want to share with us some of the things, I'm fairly open to discuss with you so that we can have another session. Because as I've been saying, I think it's high time that we have a knowledge skills stock fell of some sort, where we as the African brothers and sisters, we share the ideas so that we become more competitive out there. I think the world, as we know, people talk about fourth industrial revolution and all these developments that you see. And then I think technology is one of the elements which is driving this fourth industrial revolution. So I'm hoping that through the session that we have here, they will help us to one way or another to enhance our skills and our confidence and do as expected out there. So it's not about IT related only, but if people from social sciences, e-commerce. So I really like us to have such sessions where we'll deal with that, right? So I've shared the presentation and the data. So I just wanted to check if is there anything that one have a question around the, I'm sharing, let me share my screen so that I can also show this data that the presentation that I've shared with you, colleagues. So our first session was around the data formatting. I think that was the fundamentals, the foundation around using of Excel, using the, analyzing the data. So I just wanted to check if do we have any specific things there. So as we know, what we touched on here, I think what was more important, I understand, is when we're doing the things around the cell formatting, where we were using this type of options, to answer some of the questions that we dealt with. And then I think what came as most of the people that they really liked most was the one that when we talk about the issue of heat map, of how do we come up with a heat map. And then as we may remember, we used this color scaling, which it was really helping us to be coming with the things like heat map, where as a decision makers or analysts, it's easier for you to really already know what type of patterns or trends you can detect or analyze from your data. Yeah. So that's I think I thought is something that we can visit, and then as you can see, it's just a few clicks, and then with regard to this, you already know. Let me ask Innocent. Yeah. So as I was saying, we have the data, right? The issue of heat map, and then we used the conditional formatting, where we use the color scale. Yeah. So in our case, depending on your data, the colors may represent different things, but in this case, the green means the higher sales number, and then of course the red means the minimum, and then the yellow is in between the values. Yeah. So that's one thing that we touched on, and I remember, I think we highlighted here to check, to show ourselves how do we remove the numbers here, because at times one may just need to have just do this. One may just need to see the actual heat map without putting the values. Yeah. So that's one of the things that we did then, right? We answered this question because we said one may be needing to know, can you give me the heat map? And that's how we did it, right? And then I also just want to remind ourselves that these sessions are recorded and then they'll be available on YouTube. That's one of the exercises that we did, which I thought maybe we can visit, right? One other thing we still regarding the conditional formatting is really about answering the questions, like if maybe this is a sales data, one may need to know who performed well. I mean, what was the largest sales that one or these people made, or what will be the lowest sales the people made. So then that's where one may be talking about the top or down rules. If maybe want to find out what are the top 10 highest sales, then one may use the top item, the top 10 item here. And then as we mentioned, you can, of course, change the number depending on how many numbers you have, you are looking for, right? So that's one thing that you do, and you may even select the data. On the same tone, one may need to know, the bottom, who are the bottom 5, the bottom 5 sales these guys they've made, right? So depending on what the color you're looking for, you just select the color here, and you, let's say maybe yellow, you get this. with this kind of data, is really about getting the trends and the pattern, as I've mentioned, right? And then you may able to be in a position to check that Tendani, for example, is the person who I think performed badly compared to the rest of the guys. And then as a decision maker or analyst, you will be in a position to check what might be the problem with regards to this kind of issue, right? So I just wanted to give the brief of what we have done on the session 1. And I don't know if one has question that you want to us to look at, or we are fine so long. Remember, other thing that we talked about was here at the conditional formatting, and then obviously these other things was around bolding and putting the dollar signs or putting the currency here, and of course the table. If you want to change this to the table, we have quite a number of options for one to make, right? So I just want to open the floor to find out if from our first session, is there any question that one need to answer? Or even if maybe not necessarily the first session, you want to ask something around Excel that we see if we cannot, it's not something that as colleagues we can try to answer. No question as yet, yeah? So the other thing that maybe lastly I can touch, that I think we touched on, was the issue of sorting and filtering, yeah? Yeah, I think we had something here. Oh. So remember the issue of sorting. Remember here, I think we had Mondays and Tuesdays and Wednesday, and I just want to put something like this. I just want to illustrate that point here that we dealt with the other time. So maybe I'll just do this. Let's see. Yeah, maybe we're having something like this, and then someone will say, "Can you just sort this data based on the days of the week?" Right? And then we know normally sorting, when you sort the data, we sort it from ascending, in ascending or descending order, right? So in our case here, if someone may say sort this data by the day, right? If you sort it from ascending order from A to Z, if you do it like, we sort it, and then we say we sort it by the days, yeah? We sort it by the day, and then from Z to this. You will see that, yes, let's see, is this I think this is not, it should be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, right? But because we used it this way, it's not really ideal to do that. So you must then go to the custom list, and then we are lucky that by Excel by default is having this kind of options that one have. So then you just have to select this, or if the list that you are looking for is not there, you can create your own here. Yeah, you can create your own list that you are going to. Yeah, but I think it's the same list I believe we have, right? We don't necessarily have to create one. So the point here I wanted to mention is that if you are sorting some things, for example, maybe it's the T-shirt sizes, where maybe it's large and small, medium, and all that. When you do them alphabetically, you are not going to get the sort that you are looking for. Then you need to come here, as I mentioned, you just need to come here and then custom and create whatever list you are looking for. But in our case here, Excel got this, and then we'll just sort it using that custom list. Then you will see it's going to sort this according to your days of the week based on the list that you created there. I'm just saying, sometimes don't be surprised that you find like your data is not following logically, but there is a way that you can do with that, right? So maybe if there's not any question regarding this session here, we can then move to the functions. This was just a high-level overview around the issue that we talked about with regard to the formatting, yeah? And one other thing that we talked about was the functions. And on the functions, I'll go to this tab. As I mentioned, colleagues, I've shared the list of the presentation and the spreadsheet that we are using, yeah? Don't be surprised. You can download it there. I believe everyone should be able to see it, right? So other thing that we talked about was the issue of formulas and the functions. So we then talked about the advanced functions. In our case here, we talked about if, we talked about sum, average, counts, and others. We talked about count, or count if, sum ifs, average ifs. So we said that if you see something like, we know we are used to the function like sum, right? Sum is just addition. But if maybe we want to sum based on the some condition, you put if. If you have more than one condition, then you put some ifs. Nothing complicated there. That's what we talked about it, right? For example, I think this was the question that we answered to say from this data, this type of data, get the total amount owed by the patient who are more than 70 years old. Yeah. So you can see here we have one condition. We are looking for this amount for the people who are greater than 70, right? So in this case, you must just use sum if because there is one condition, right? So then that's how we do it, right? So if, as I mentioned, when you click on the formula or when you write it, it will tell you to say, what is the range, right? What is the range where you're going to apply this criteria? In our case, we are going to do the green. As you can see, green is the age. And then the criteria is what greater than, the age should be greater than 70. And then what do you sum? You must sum, for those people who are greater than 70, you must sum the amount. That's fairly easy, or how easily you can deal with this, yeah? And then other one, as I mentioned, let's go to the sum, where maybe there's some ifs. Some ifs, there's nothing special around it, it's just that now you are having more than one condition, yeah? Even if it can be average ifs, it's just that you want to get average based on the more than one condition. So in our case here, the condition was that people, they are males, and then they are more than 80 years old, and then they're coming from this province, Northern Cape, right? So I said that there's nothing fancy around this. If you type it, you must just click on the formula. It will tell you what is looking for. If you say some ifs, it will say, well, in this case now, you start with the sum range. What do you want to sum, right? We are still looking for the amount. We're still looking for amount. We are going to sum this. That's why you see the color there is this color. Then the second one is to say, what is the criteria range number one? In our case, we are looking for the males. Yeah, you will see now, in our case, we started with the age. The age should be 80, right? These two. This is the first condition. This one. This is the range, and then this is the criteria. The second one was about the male. What is the male? Male is E column, right? And then it will be equals to male. And then the last one was about the province. I think it's the location, the province here, right? It's the province. And then as you remember, we talked about the named range. You can name this. That's why in our case, you see we did not put this E6 to E244. We just put the name because why? If you can remember, we named the range. We said that you can define, we can name the range. We named this, right? You can create the range, and then you can say maybe you want to create the range for the surnames, right? So that next time when you want to use the surname, something to do with the surname, you don't use the columns. You just call it by the name, as we did here. That's one thing that we talked about. And as I mentioned, we have sessions on YouTube. If you want to go back to them again to check how we did that, we have that from there, right? The same thing. So the same thing with the I think here the answer is 0. That's why we have this, yeah. And then at times to handle the errors. Remember, friends, we talked about if error. There was something to do. The function that we talked about, we said if error, right? And then we said we're looking at this. It will tell you to say what is the value. The value is this, the function of this, yeah. And then it helps us to say, maybe say no value. Let's see. If error, we tell it to say what must it say? Yeah. So this one thing that we also, when we're going to talk about the functions, there's a function that you say if error, if you find that you are running something and then you get the value, you don't get the actual value, you get hash name, you get the /n NA, something that is not applicable, right? You must use this function to handle it so that it become meaningful, right? So we use this function called if error. We say if this results, if you have something like this, if the value, let's do this, yeah. If error, this is what if error is saying. Say if this return a value, return it, but else give us, if the value is error, what do you need to type? And then in your case, you say, if these functions return error, then you must write no value, for example, right? So those are some of the things that we also did. That sometimes you don't want, you want your data to be more presentable, more readable. Then there are functions of Excel that helps you to handle such things, yeah? So here is the same thing that we talked about if, average ifs. As I said, nothing fancy, just that you are having one condition, more than one condition to get an average. In our case, saying here was that the patient must be coming from Gauteng, it should be a male, and then they must be greater than 70 years old, and then they must not be in quarantine. Yeah, and then that's why we wrote this kind of things. Yeah, colleagues. So just let me know if one may have a question there. That's one, this is what ifs, just that we're having more than one condition. And then this function, it will tell you. The first is looking for average range, the criteria, what you want to average, the criteria number 1, right? Criteria range number 2, what is the criteria, and just like that. And that's what precisely we did here. So we said that we need to average the amount J6, this is what we average, and then what is the criteria? The criteria 1, we talked about the province. The province should be Gauteng, and then E represent the male, the gender, and then it should be a male, and then this I is age, and the age should be greater than 70, and then K is the quarantine, and then quarantine should be no. Hence, we return to that. Yeah, please let me know if we're having any specific questions, friends. And then we moved to the logical functions, right? Where we talked about concatenating. Concatenate is just to add 2 numbers together, 2 cells together. So the first one which we did was this one. You are having the, yeah, we are having surname and the initials. Then if you want to combine them in one cell, you can just write, just say concatenate, and then you write the cell C, cell C in these initials, and then you put the space, and then you put the surname, yeah? And then that's what you get. Not necessarily the fancy thing, but what I found interesting that we did was then, this we still use the concatenate. I've sent you the spreadsheet, colleagues, you'll see how these are done. We talked about the length, the find, and then the right, and and then we said that sometimes the functions like length, they don't tell you the story if you use them alone. But if you combine them, for example, if you combine them, right? If maybe you want to extract the initials from, was it M? Yes, it was from M. You have this. You want to extract, your cases where you want to extract the initials from this, then you must use this combination here. The left give us the left of this of M6, right? But then you must find, okay, remember we start from inside, right? You must find the space in this, in M6. This is a space. And then what you need to do then is you must return those values from the left. You get the space, and then you must return the left value that is there. Hence, you get HT, right? The same thing you do with, if you want to get the surname, you are going to return the right from the right. So what you still do is you find the space from M, right? And then you are going to then let's start this from the beginning. Is a length, get the length of this, meaning is count the characters. And then from there, you must minus the characters after the space. If you find the space, these characters are 2s, 1, 2. You must minus 2 from the whole sentence. And then you must return the remainder from the right. Then you are going to write the Thomas. That's why it's a Thomas, right? You find the whole length, you minus these 2, and then you must return from the right. That's why you return the Thomas, right? So all of this, friends, I've sent you there. You can just check this. Nothing complicated. You must just read it the way it is, right? Get the length. You must minus the length that from this space. Talk about this space between these two, right? And then when you're going to return that from the right, you are going to return Mufugem, for example, in our case. So those are some of the things that we talked about. And then we also talked about the charts. Nothing fancy here. It's really just for us to understand how this work, right? Remember, we talked about here, you can put the label, data label, or you can, put the table at the down there, depending on what really you are looking for, right? And then you can put the excesses here to tell us what are these. You put this axis here, and then you're going to tell us these are the names of the sales people, and then these are the amount, right? These are different types of the charts, bar charts, the combo. Remember the combo, you put the different elements together. In our case here, I think this was the quantity, right? And then this was the amount, the sales, right? Hence, we are using the combo. The same thing here, this is a stacked one. You stack them together. So I don't know if there's any question, friends, regarding this, so that maybe we can do one. But remember, we talked about here, these are just for to change the colors, right? You can select here, you can also change from here, you can change your tables from here. There are just quite lots of things that one can do with this. But the key is, like as we said, this is just like mathematics. You must just practice, right? And then if you want to change the table, you come here, and then it's going to give you those options, right? These are the things that we really talked about. There are times where You may need to change, to switch the rows and then see how your data will look like. You just click it like this, and then you'll see it is going to show you like this. So it's really about you just playing around with this data to see what kind of table you'll come up with. I'm not sure if there's any questions from any of your friends. Nothing, right? So then we talked about the pivot chart. Pivot chart is just the brother of the previous charts that we talked about. And when we said that pivot chart, we are using pivot chart if you are having quite lots of data, maybe 500 or even close to 1,000, right? And then Walter will come and tell us about the Power BI and why maybe at times you don't use Excel, you must use those other command. What will be the right word? The mature data analysis softwares to manipulate some of the data, right? So in this case here, we said this is just a fairly easy thing to do. You will see with the pivot table, you must just have a very nice clean table for you to be able to work with it, and then you will get some things like this. And then I said to you last time that it's really up to you what you are looking for. You should always know what you are looking for so that you can then direct this data based on what you are looking for, so that you can see, you can change these columns here to see if the table is represented the way you want it to look like, right? So you can take an age this side and then see really how it looks like. And then also how does it impact or affect your table or your chart, right? The same thing with the previous chart. You'll just come here, the same thing, then you'll have a design. You can change your chart. You can swap the columns. You can do quite lots of things, right? So the most important thing that you talked about here really was this fancy filter. We call it the slicer, right? If you want to filter your data based on this slicer, you can just, select all this, whatever thing you want to filter your data, you'll have something like this. I said that is a fancy one because it's easily, you can easily use it. So as I mentioned previously, you can say, I'm looking for females, which are coming from Free State, and then who are between this age. So the table will change based on what you are looking for. Yeah. So if you want to do multiple section, you just click here, you do like this, right? So meaning, it means that there is no female, there's no males from Free State who are this age, right? So let's do multiple here. Let's say Free State, Eastern Cape. Then you see male here is active. And then you'll see in your chart, it will change based on what you are looking for, right? Any question regarding this? I really encourage you, friends and brothers, to really use this type of slicer so that to see what can you come up with. Do you see? The more you select, it gives you the data the way it should look like. Remember, as I said, if you want this field to appear, you must click the data. I said, and I repeat again, you can swap this to see how your table looks like and even your data. And then from there, it will be normal chart where you can put the title and the related elements. Yeah. Questions, suggestion, comment?
Quick question from my side, sir. The slicer, do we only use it under the pivot tables?
Well, I'm not sure if there's other functions which use a slicer, but as I said, slicer is just the filter. Yeah. So we are just using, we don't want to use this one here, this filter here. We just use this one. Am I talking under correction? Maybe there are other areas, because as you can see, Excel is having lots of functions, right? You might be having other functions that you are using it, but so far, as far as I'm aware, you use it with the pivot table. Yes.
Okay. No, thank you so much.
Yes.
Excellent.
So, yeah.
We are very interested.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Do you have a question? Oh, sorry, someone just joined. Yeah. So that's what we really. I was talking about that. You must just practice. At the end of this session, I'm going to share the links to these sessions that we dealt with, right? So let's just quickly move to and then we talked about pivot table. I mean VLOOKUP, right? I found this one very interesting one. I'll just give you an example here. Remember here we talked about VLOOKUP. Nested is like more nested VLOOKUP, right? Initially we know this is a VLOOKUP. VLOOKUP, if you write a VLOOKUP, it will say what is the lookup value that you are looking for, and then where do you want to look this value in, and then if you find this value, which column do you want to return, right? And then the range lookup is to say, do you want exact mesh or approximate mesh, right? And then that's where the true and false things comes in, right? Remember in our case here, for example, in this case, I think this is a very nice exercise. So what we talked about here, we said that you are looking to sum, right? But the first thing is that you must look for L is, what is L6? L6, right? You're looking for this value, right, in this table, right? And then if you find this value in this table, what you must do is you must return the second column of this table, which is the percentage, yeah? And then we said that, are you looking for exact value? Are you looking for 4,000 or approximate values? And we said, look, in this case, we are looking for approximate value. Any value that is close to 400, you must look at here to say, if anyone owes this 4,000, you must charge them this percentage, 4%. Yeah, that's what we said here. This one here is going to return what? It's going to return 4%. And then we said that when you get that 4%, you must multiply that 4% by L6, which is this, by 4,000. From there, you must add that value with this value so that you can get this value. I believe you colleagues, you understand and you remember it. We are saying, if check this value, if anyone who owes around 4,000, you must increase the monthly value by 4%, right? If anyone like this fellow here, this one owes 3,000, you must come here, find any value which is close to 3,000, you must add 3% of this to that value. And then you'll find, like, at the end of that month, you get this. I said that there's nothing fancy here, nothing complicated. You must just take this from inside. Yeah. And then I think I'm really asking you, can you just go and do this one? The more I think you can do this one, you'll find that you're not going to have any complication around VLOOKUP. Of course, people out there, they want to make it so complicated, but just take it one at a time, right? And then, as I said, the beauty part around this function is that they are telling you what at every stage. If you are here, is bolting this, and then to say what is looking for, right? I'm hoping we still following each other. And then other thing was just that about that nested VLOOKUP, right? Nothing fancy. And then we said that this one is looking for It's just returning true or false if the result of VLOOKUP is true or not. I mean, it's error or not. If its error is true, then it's going to return the true. And then as we said, what we said is that if it's true, then you're using the if. If it's true, what do? You return B. Otherwise, it must be space. Remember, as I said, right? If its error is about returning true or false, yeah? This is about returning true or false, right? Here is error. That's why it's returning only one value. It's returning true or false. It's going to ask this to say, do you find B4 in this table, right? If the answer is false, if the answer is true, right, you must return this. Otherwise, you must leave it. You must leave it. You must put a space. That's what we were doing on this one. So that is that nested function. Nested function meaning there are more than one functions to deal with whatever you're looking for. So as I said, don't complicate it. Don't look it as like from here, because otherwise then it will frustrate you at times. Just take it one by one, from inside out. This, what does it return? Right? Does it return a error? If it's error, the value will be true. Yeah? Meaning it did not find this B4. I mean B5. Right? If it's true, then you must return B5. If not, then you must return space. Questions?
Sir, on the, can you go to the sheet that shows the, where we were doing VLOOKUPs just now, but then where it shows the interest?
Yes, yeah.
So now my question is,
Yeah.
I do understand how to do the VLOOKUPs and stuff,
Yeah.
but then with regards to this one, obviously, depending on the amounts, we'll have to apply different interest rates.
Yes.
Is there a way whereby we can have one formula and then copy it down and then it will just check whichever it falls into?
Sorry, what do you mean? So for example, we are looking for this.
What I'm saying is that, for example, yes, I do understand the population and how we come about the figures. So my question is it possible to have one function, right? That will, say, okay, okay, fine. My question is that, is it possible to have one function, say for instance, under M6, right? That we can copy and paste down without having to capture in the formulas for each line, because now obviously the amounts are different and the interest rates are different.
So yeah, so if, for example, this, if you take this, you just paste it once here, and then remember, then you'll just have to drag it here. Remember, you don't have to do anything. If you get this one right, then you'll just populate it like this. It will do it for yourself. It will do it for you now. You just, if you get the one right, and then you just take this. For example, let's delete this one. Remember, you don't have to do all for each. That's the beauty part around this. If you have this, if you get this one right, you just populate it. I believe I'm answering your question. And then you just do it. It will do it for yourself.
So, yeah. So what I'm saying is that, for instance, this one, we were saying it's true if it's above the 4,000. But then I want to say, take into account the entire table. Whereby if it's 1,000, let's take the 1%. Is it possible? Or do I have to do like the one by one to accommodate everything?
Maybe I may be losing you, right?
Are you following my question?
So for example, so you are saying, let's start here. Let's just talk about this here, this table, because that's where we are doing the comparison against.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct. So what I'm saying is that we have the interest rate table here. And we
Yes.
know that 0 is 0%, 1,000, 1%, and so forth.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Now, towards our left, we have the amount that we have to be capturing the interest rate on, right? Under M, under column M.
Yes.
Right.
Column M.
Now
yes.
we've done the first calculation where we said if it's above 4,000, please put the 4%. But then we go to the second one, it's less than 4,000.
Yeah, so
right?
it will do you automatically.
So my question
yes.
was, yeah, but okay, wait. The second one, did it take into account the 3%?
Yes, it's take 30%.
Or
yes.
we have to like
no, you don't have to
one by one.
No. So what I'm saying, that's why I said, if you get this one right, it will. If you get that's why I deleted this ones. If you delete them, right, and then you get this one right, you don't have to come here and then say equals to what. No, you will just have to drag this formula. You see, it will do it for you. So
okay,
check here. It will take this one. You see, it will take. It will take. Let's see. Yeah, it's taking this one. It will take L what? L7. You see, is that relative referencing? It will do it for you. It will do it automatically for you. Now it's L8, right? It's going to do it automatically for you. L10, because it's all at 10.
And
if you
then
get this
what
one right,
percentage is it gonna be using?
Yeah, no, it comes here and then it will check. This is 1,000, right?
Oh,
yes.
Okay, I'm following now. Okay, I'm following. Okay.
Yeah, so it's very clever. It's very clever formula. So it comes here, it's 1,000.
Okay.
Obviously, it's going to take 1%. You can calculate it. You will see you are going to get this value.
Okay. No, it makes sense. Thanks.
Right. So it's say 1% of this is what? I don't know, 150 or something, right? Happiness.
Yeah, 150. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Then
if you get this one, you must just get
Okay.
this one right, and then you will just drag it here, and then it's going to do it for you. You can put 600 here. I mean 6,000, and then say whatever here, 7%, whatever the case may be. It will come and just check. It goes like this.
Yes.
So it goes like
I'm
this is
following.
5,000. Happiness, right?
Yes.
Friends,
Yeah, it
brothers
makes
and
sense.
sisters, any other comment before we can give Alter opportunity to dwell much on what he wanted to tell today. So maybe in summary from my end, right? I think this needs practice. Check. I'll share the YouTube where you are going to get these sessions, and then you do them. I believe majority of you have my email address. If you have a question, you can just drop it. You can just drop in there. I'm hoping we're going to have a last 5 minutes after all, so that we can just decide about where from here. What is the way forward? Just get your comment, right? Let me just stop here. It's 5 minutes to 4. Let me give Walter an opportunity to tell us about other tools that are out there which you colleagues can use. And then I believe he's going to explain why do we need such tools, why not Excel. Yeah, Walter, over to you.
All right, cool. Is my mic clear enough?
Yes,
huh?
yes, you are audible. Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay, awesome. So yeah, I think like you said, with these sessions, especially using Excel, the purpose of my area there is just to say, in case if you get like troubles with Excel, because if there are a number of disadvantages and advantages using Excel, and also same with the other tools that you know, data analytics or data scientists use out there. They also have the same issues as well, but it will only matter to you to say which one it will be better for you to use at which point. So depending on your issues that you find or challenges that you face at your workplace or personal capacity, or even on a school projects or whatever case may be, You can pick and choose whatever you want. Remember, at the end of the day, it's about getting the best results, not just using the coolest tools, right? That's the whole idea of data analytics. So in summary, data analytics is more around obviously like to get the idea of what patterns does the data give you. It's like when your doctor is trying to diagnose you with the illness, it takes your blood to or like investigate that through your blood. So data here is the blood of the company or blood of the institution. So with these tools, it's more around like using them to analyze what's happening. And some of the tools, they give you more, some of them they give you less, and depending on which ones you prefer. So here I just gave you examples of few tools that you can use and that are common in the workspace. Some of them, you might already have it. That's why I chose them. And some of them, like, you don't need to be a tech person, like people who studied computer science or IT or engineering, those kind of degrees. You can be in accounting, you can be in HR, it can be in wherever space you are, you can still use them. That's why they are much user friendly. The example that I gave there is Microsoft Access, right? So with this, it's within the pack of Office 365. I'm sure if you go to Microsoft 365, besides your Word, Excel, PowerPoint, whatever, you also get Access. So Access is more around like you get the that benefit of having a database of your own. I'm not sure if many of you knows what is a database, but it's more around like the storage of the data itself. In a simple term. So you can create that using Microsoft Access. And the reason why I said Microsoft Access, right? So Access is normally help you to store information for reference, reporting, and analysis. And also you can integrate with other platforms as well, like your text files, your Excel, and other sort of sources that you may find out there. So the reason why I say Access, so in case if, let's say you use Excel, right? Like you've been doing currently, and you found that you're running a trouble where your data is too large. Because if you remember, Excel only can cater for a record of 1,400,000. That's as far as it can go. And even if it's within that, it can also be slower because of there are a lot of like macros around Excel itself. It's good to use Excel in a small or medium data, but if you have large data set, then you'll be more of disadvantaged. Then that's where Access came in. So Access obviously stored like capacity of 2 gig of data. So 2 gig, you might get in the range of like 10 million records or above that, which is quite great. And normally some of the company's data is around that range. If you go to big companies or like medium-sized companies, that sort of data is around that kind of size. And Access is more like the tool that they use instead of Excel, like to analyze the data itself. But also, you can use the combination of Access and Excel as well, which is the beauty of it. Microsoft did that integration very well, that if you have a large data set, you can take it in samples into Excel and do whatever you do in Excel, or you can also do whatever you do in Excel in Access as well. Access have that functionality. That's why I said, okay, so it's also easy to use, and it's widely popular as well. And then, I mean, also like installation. I mean, it's part of the Office 365 as well. So you don't have to install it. The only thing that you have to get is the license of Office 365, which include Word, Excel, and whatever. So where you can get it is, obviously I said, like within the Office suite. That's where you can get Microsoft Access. And also, I mean, it gives you nice, touching points in terms of like your charts, how you can analyze it, and also joining of those tables. If you can see it from that picture there on your right hand side, I know Motloka touched on like Vlookups and stuff. So Vlookup is more around joining tables, right? Is around like finding something in another table. So there you can literally drag and drop. It's like easy, quick, easy. Rather than writing a formula like VLOOKUP, a long formula there, you can easily drag and drop and create like relationship between tables, like we have there with primary keys and stuff, which is quite cool. And I mean, you can literally play around with this anytime, but get grip of Excel first, which is quite easier than this. But this one will give you more in terms of flexibility as well. So I don't know if before I move to other stuff, is there any questions around that?
And then from my side, then you talked about the license. How does it work? Just come again there. I think you touched on it,
Okay.
but I just like you to elaborate a bit.
Yeah. So Microsoft Access is also part of the pool of Microsoft Office 365 suite. So whatever license you have for 365 suite, which is your Excel, Word, whatever, it also covers Microsoft Access as well. So you don't have to buy the license separately. If you have Microsoft Office in your laptop or machine, right? So you can guarantee that you'll have access already in your machine. All you have to do is use it from there. You don't have to buy a separate license for it.
Okay, so the 2016, 2013, if you have a full package there, you should able to have access. Yeah.
You should able to have access freely available to you to use it. Like I said, like these are more flexible products from Microsoft. So
yeah,
and they literally integrate themselves very well, especially between Excel and Access, because they also realize that some limitations around Excel, you can get that advantage using your Access in terms of space and also your performance as well. Sometimes Excel does have that performance issues where if, let's say, you have 1 million of records that you try to analyze there, the speed or like it keeps on hanging sometimes, right? And I'm sure you guys get that a lot. So Access normally deals that with ease. There's no issues with that.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, as you can see also, do you see my screen, I believe, where I also have it in my desktop, just to emphasize that point that, yeah, it's not something that is the additional or add-on, it's just package, it's just part of the Office product. So yeah, it's easily available. I believe maybe you can see my screen, I hope. Where,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yes.
Exactly.
So I think it's easier for guys to play with, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So in terms of using it, I mean, it's much user friendly. Like I said, you don't have to be a tech guy or somebody who studied IT to use such, the same as Excel. I mean, it's quite easy to use this product. So feel free to go to like the likes of Udemy and other websites that offers some of the like tutorials that you can visit there and then try and play around with it. It's quite fun if you know more about like around this product as well. So if there are no further questions, right, I can move to the next one. So the next one is more around I can put that. So people who have done audit, or our auditors or people who are in finance, this is more around, like it's designed more for them in actual fact. So this is an analytics tool that those guys use when they do something called CATs. I'm not sure if from the audience we have someone from who have done auditing or done CATs.
I have.
Oh yeah, nice. I'm sure this ACL is like seems familiar to you. I'm not sure if you've used it before.
No,
Okay.
this I haven't used, but then yeah.
Okay,
this
cool.
one I have used CADs though.
Yeah, okay, perfect. So normally the auditing firms normally have this as a standard, as their programs. I'm sure it's in your catalog somewhere there, sitting there. It has like been licensed,
Yeah.
paid off. Nobody's using it, but it's,
Yeah.
it's there for you guys, all of you guys. So it's people who have not done computer science at all. So normally you go to clients, and then client say, okay, here's the data from like our GLs or trial balances that you can do your CATs and reconciliation and blah blah blah, all those things. And then you find that your data doesn't fit in Excel. Normally people like that call the IT guys to say, please help us with this. We don't have programs to run this data so that we can perform our audits and stuff. This program, if you have it in your machine, you can literally do that by yourself. You don't even have to call an IT person or whatever. It's quite simple. So what they do with this program is it was designed by, let me just see, a company called Galvanize, right? So what they did is they saw a gap of people who relied heavily on data analysts or IT people, and they realized that there's scarce resources on that. Then what they said, okay, say, let's split the gap between that. People who are in auditing, they should also get analytics skills as well, so that they can use it in their field of work to be more efficient in terms of their audits. So what it does is it just creates like a page which is more of like a database, but it's not. So it's just a file or like a project where you can import the data in it from text or even Excel, but not more of a text, right? Because of, if let's say you get a data from your client or whatever, and it's more than 2 million records, if you see there, those screens there, like the first screen, the left screen there, that's where you'll see it. First of all, when you try to open that. So you'll launch the project there, and then you'll import the tables in that file. So in the right-hand side there, you'll see there's a number of options that it gives you as well. So there's a scripting mode, and there's also a user interface. The user interface one is where people that don't know anything about tech. So you can literally drag and drop. If you want to join two tables, it has an option there in your menu there to say, match these tables. Literally just tells you what to do, and you just go there and do it, right? You don't have to use Excel to try and do a VLOOKUP on the large data sets. This part gives you that flexibility to do it. But if you want to tap into scripting as an auditor, you can literally use the script mode, where you can write the script to say, okay, let's join this table from this and that and do that, and manipulate data the way you want. And it's quite cool because of, in audit, I know normally what you do is there are a lot of factors that you want to cover in terms of substantive testing. What I think that's what they call it. Normally, I've engaged a lot of auditors. They normally say about that substantive testing. I don't know what that means, but yeah.
Called substantive testing.
Yeah, that word. That's a buzzword in audit, right? So they use that. And this program is specifically for that. Literally for that. So anyone who doesn't want to do programming or whatever, they can also use this program at ease. to do whatever they want to do. It's not just for audit, but it was designed initially for audit, or like auditors, but they've transformed it into other areas as well. Even data scientists themselves, they also use it for their whatever purpose like they face in their world. Yeah.
Hi, Alter.
Yes, who's this? Let me see.
It's John Masekwami.
All right.
Yes, no, I just wanted to ask you, I heard of the ACR, but I have not actually used it before. So I just want to know if it has got the reporting side. Can I visualize the data from here? Or I still need to connect this to Power BI or Tableau or any other BI tool?
No, you can still visualize here. But I'm saying, like, remember, each tool has its own different style, right? And that different style depends on you. What do you want? You can also use this to transform the data itself and use that data in another tool like your Excel or your Power BI or whatever. It depends on you, right? How flexible you want it to be. This also gives you that option to have your data to be visualized as well. So you can visualize in this, but if you don't like what you get from this, from the visualization point of view, you can take that data into somewhere else. There you can visualize it. Because I mean, some programs are designed heavily on visualization. Some also only designed to store data or transform data, right? So so it depends with this type of project. I mean,
okay.
The
transformation, can I write some SQL query from here to transform my data? Or
so John, just be close to your mic.
Yeah, just come. You're breaking there. Come again.
Okay, I wanted to check if I can, in terms of transforming my data. Am I able to, write some SQL queries from here on the ACR, or maybe it only allows me to drag and drop, as you have mentioned.
Okay, so I think I got your question, but you're breaking. But okay, so like I said, so it gives you two options: a UI functionality, which is your user interface, right? Which is you can drag and drop, right? Like I said, and also there's a second option, which is scripting, like scripting in SQL. But remember, it's not the exact same language as SQL language. It's similar, but it's not the exact same. It's the same as the difference between Oracle and SQL, right? Do you get me?
Oh, okay. Sorry. I'm not trying to be popular because this is the last session, but I think this is quite important. I ask you this one.
Yeah.
I can see that what you show in there as an example is a structured data. So does this actually able to deal with unstructured data as well?
I'm failing to get that question because of network. I'm not sure if I'm the only one who's facing
I think it's his mic. I don't know if it's moving. I think if we can just talk straight in the mic.
Are you able to hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Go ahead.
It's better.
Yeah.
Okay. My question was, I can see, the example, your example is on, like the data seems to be structured. So my question was, does this ACL able to accommodate the unstructured data as well?
Okay, brilliant. Very good question. Oh, I like this.
Just repeat it for some of us who did not hear. Walter?
Okay. So he said, like, does this only covers structured data, or does it also cover unstructured data? Okay, so maybe let me just explain what is the difference between the two, right? First, so the structured data is what you see there in that picture. So where you have like your normal columns and rows, right? Data is nicely aligned. You have your columns and your rows in it already like, you know what columns is sit in what rows, right? Like the same thing that you see there. Your unstructured, however, is something that you get from social media or whatever type of data that you stream from online. So it's like the data that is just, you know, sentences. There's no columns or, you know, rows like that. It's just scribbles of data, which need to be cleansed first before you can read it. Right? I hope you get the difference there.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So this part, ACL does not cater for that, right? So like I said, this was mainly designed for a purpose. Like a purpose was for people who are in audit or people who like to do those smaller analytics stuff like you do in Excel, right? But this thing covers more around like if you have large data set as well. So you don't have to be disadvantaged if you get like data that is more than 2 million records from your text file or whatever, which is delimited from there. So the unstructured data, that's where like you'll see programs like Hadoop, even Oracle at extent uses that, which is more complex to try and, you know, fiddle with that set of data. Google also does that with their natural processing language. Does that, especially when they mine data from Twitter or Facebook or whatever, which is unstructured in normal cases. But here we're talking about the structured data that you get from you know, companies' data sets or data warehouse where it's being delimited. You know exactly what rows and what columns are there, and you get that, and then you use it in your own workstation or your laptop or whatever, and using these programs. I hope that covers that question, or do you need me to elaborate more?
No, thanks.
Okay, just
Okay,
touch on the
awesome.
license. How
Any
does it
further
work?
question? Oh, I'm getting interesting questions. Awesome.
No, I was saying, touch on the license. Is free software? How does it work?
Okay, so here there's a licensing part, right? So normally companies have to make money, right? So they're not giving you things for free, especially with these programs because they're hard to design from development. So when people are coding such programs, because they has like hard-coded stuff in the background, so the work itself has to be rewarded. That's why it's latest. So this one you get, like you download it. There's ACL Analytics. You can get it from that link that I've put up there. The latest version is 10.5. However, you get to have buy a license separately. But I know most companies, especially like I said, auditing firms, they have it in their locker room and they pay that license every month. Every auditing firm that I know have this, and they have it ready. They paid that license. But it's not that expensive though, the license for this. You can get around like possibly like, I think at maximum 2.3 last time I checked. But yeah, so it's fully licensed. You don't get free stuff, especially with these kind of you know, programs. Because of these ones also, what it does is it gives you something called auditing. Like it audits you when you use it. Let's say you busy your data and stuff, it restores logs where you'll recover to say, what have you done in the last, I don't know, 3 months or whatever case may be, and so that you can reflect on, you know, if you have done any mistakes through your data or whatever, which some of the programs I think doesn't give you. This one gives you. It's much great program to have, actually. Okay, so I hope that covers the licensing part, right?
Yeah.
Okay, So the next point is much popular software. This is also part of the suite that Microsoft is also offering. However, unlike your Access, Power BI is more for visualization purpose or streaming of data. So what it does is, yes, in Excel, remember in Excel, you have your charts there, your graphs there and whatever. You can play around with how you slice and dices and whatever. But for this one, it's more powerful. It gives you more than your Excel gives you. Like Excel gives you 10%, this one gives you 120% of visualization of data, right? So what it does is, it can integrate very well with other, applications or databases, or even any other source of data that is there, right? So what it does is, if let's say you have like a cloud-based solution, or like the data that you stored on cloud or whatever, you can literally stream it using this and see live feeds or live visualization of through what's happening within your systems. That's how cool it is. The worst thing about that is, yes, it's part of Microsoft, but it's licensed separately from the 365 Office suite. You get me? So, and there's two versions on this. There's an online version, which is the web-based, right? And then there's also a desktop one, which is like the app, right? You can download it and have it on your local machine. If you want to localize your data set and have an instant in your workstation, you can have it on your local computer. But if you want to stream it on a web page itself, you can do that as well, so that you can share with everybody within your company or within your institution, whatever, so that they can also see that. And this is also, how cool about that is, you can also have the mobile version of the same instant that you have on your desktop. The same instant, you can actually have it as your mobile as well. So it's like flexibility and mobility actually speak together with this program. So if, let's say, you're in a taxi or whatever, you want to catch up with the latest what's happening with your team, if you're a manager or whatever, you can literally check on your phone and get those stats through Power BI, the same stats that you can get on your laptop, right? That's how cool these programs will give you. So whatever you do on your chats in Excel, and whatever joining and VLOOKUPs and stuff, this one is quite easy because of you just drag and drop into whatever charts you want. And it gives you nicely those graphs, whatever you want. And depending on what type of person you are, you can literally design the charts based on how you want to read the data itself. So also this thing is not literally for people who can program only, but people who just want to know of what's happening around to get the story of the data. This thing gives you that. It's widely popular. Unlike programs like ClickView, ClickView normally is a little bit difficult to use it. You need a little bit of programming in there to have it. But this one, you don't need programming at all. You can literally get the data from whatever source you have and then literally plug it and play there and do whatever slice and dice you want and put it in your whatever design you want. You can see there in the picture, you have a desktop version at the background there, the huge background. You have a tablet background here on your right, down here, and then you have mobile as well. Exactly the same, like I said. It's easy for mobility. Work from home and everywhere else, you literally have your data on your fingerprint. That's how cool it is. And this thing is widely used by many companies now. I hope there's some questions around this.
Yes, interesting
Okay.
stuff, Walter.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Firstly, I just want to comment to say, Power BI in terms of visualization, yes, it is very, very powerful and user friendly because you can connect to multiple, sources, different, whether structured or unstructured. So it gives you that flexibility. But my question, Walter, it's around. I just want to check, what is the best method to sell or introduce a business intelligence in the organization? Because what I've seen is that there is always, reluctance, especially from the senior management and executive. When you introduce, because obviously this is not long that actually it was introduced, but as we speak now, I think you are quite right when you say most of the companies are now actually using Power BI. I'm also in the data analytics and business intelligence, but if you were to advise somebody where to start, I mean, if you really want to implement this across the business, where do you start? And for you to get that buy-in. And secondly, that's my first question. My second question is around, the debate around, the best BI tool. I know according to the research, the partner, I think was it early this year, they did actually announce that Microsoft Power BI is in the first quadrant, but there are quite a few BI workshops that I've attended where actually people still believe that Tableau is still one of the best BI tools. What's your comment on that?
Okay, awesome. Cool. Let me deal with the first one. So in terms of selling the BI, functions within space, right? So every BU or business unit, even if you have like sub-business unit within one company, does have at some point a BI team. So what I mean by that, like it's, so let's say if you want to make decisions and you don't know, where to start and what is the cost of a problem, or what can you improve in your organization to improve your margins or revenues or whatever case may be, or how to manage your staff, productivity and all those things, right? In the beginning, when I said data is always a reference point to everything that is happening within the organization. So data is just the blood of a person. It's like a blood of a person, actually. So when a doctor, when they try to diagnose somebody's illness, they assess that through a blood at some point, right? To test if, let's say, if you have like a disease, this type of disease, whatever, your blood or any type of, liquid out, like within your body, they use that to test if you have whatever disease, whatever like you might have. So it's exactly the same analogy within a company, where if you want to better your structures or better operations, data is where you start. And how do you use that? That is through BI, which is business intelligence, to say, how do I make a story out of my data to understand what's happening around me, right? So tools such as Power BI and others might also say, okay, ClickView and SQL and Oracle, whatever case might be. But the main issue here is trying to understand what's happening within your company. Can be through HR, or can be trying to sell to particular customers, whatever. is about understanding through data, and that is data analytics. And using of the use of these tools will actually make you aware of what's happening around you and what good decision you can make to make you achieve your goals and your objectives. That's the power of data analytics. And many companies, they don't realize that you can make good decisions through analysis of data, which you can even be more competitive as well to your competitors, right? So we should not always, use the same formula over and over and again. When companies have moved into BI space, you should not stay to your own, way of like waterfall kind of approach where you rely on your operations to see how you can make your business survive. Others, while they are progressing, and you don't know why they're progressing in that fast pace, because of you're living in this fourth industrial revolution, right? For IR, right? So in that space, you need to be ahead of what is out there. One example that I always come across is a company called Nokia. Where is Nokia right now? Remember, Nokia was the powerhouse of mobile devices in this world. And the fundamental mistake that they have is not to transform into what companies are doing now. Every day you have to research. And through research, you have to, use your own method of data analytics, try and improve to get to tap into different avenues, because of the world is moving at a fast pace. It's not during those days where things were just literally slow. Now you have like social media, you have all these platforms that are there, and if you don't make use of it, and to make use of it is actually through data science, and if you don't use it, then you're gonna fall behind. Same as Nokia. Kodak as well. Remember the camera company, where they are now, they should be the powerhouse of camera, but that has exceeded them because they didn't make use of this stuff like your data science or your BI capabilities to try to understand how they can improve their businesses, how they can get better out of the market that they adventure into. Same in your company where you have like productivity stats, like you don't know why your like your charge out rates to other companies is always not reflecting very well with your with your income, right? It's through that, so you don't understand that. But with data analytics itself, you can understand that better and make critical decision to say how we can structure ourselves in order to be more productive and gain more through this analytics capabilities. I've said it out, but I hope that maybe covers that question.
Of course, yes, you did well. Thanks.
Okay, so
yeah, I will just give other colleagues to ask questions. I'll ask the last one.
Okay, so I think you had this two questions. The second question, let me see. What was the question? Second question again? Maybe remind me. Hello, can you hear me?
Hello, Alta.
Oh yes, maybe remind me of your second question. I think you asked another question.
Was it not around, how to introduce the BI in the organization?
Oh yeah, actually that was a first question, I think, which I answered. Yeah. I hope that there was another question, but I can't remember. But anyway, I will remember as like I go on.
Okay.
But yeah, Actually, like you
Oh,
said, like
no.
which one is the
Okay,
best?
yeah,
Which
the
one is the
best.
best analytics? Okay, so yeah, so remember it depends with the capability of it. So normally it's just on how you want to look at it. Do you want to look at performance, which I normally prefer in my personal capacity? Performance. That's the first thing that I look at. Which one is the best in terms of how they can perform? The second thing is what else can it do, right? If you look at Power BI, it can literally get data from multiple streams, but there are other programs that are limited to that. If you look at ClickView, like I said, it's a little bit difficult because of you need some sort of skill set to be able to use it. You have to have like that scripting mentality that you have to script first before you can visualize it. But Power BI, you don't have to because of it's easy. It's made available for everybody. That's just to drag and drop. So those kind of comparisons, that's where we look at the reliability in terms of the performance, and also does it give you a flexibility for anybody to use it? I don't have to have a different skill set to be able to use this tool. Power BI is easy because of I can use it. If you look at SAS, for example, SAS is more around people who have done quantitative analytics, like mathematicians and stuff. So if you don't know mathematics, how will you use such programs? Which also gives you similar kind of result set. Because end of the day, like it's just about trying to understand the data. That's all it is.
Okay, so but Walter, okay, I fully hear you, and I really appreciate your answers with regards to that. So now, I think the issue comes in where you will have to maybe define what you're gonna use in the data, maybe governance policy or structure. So you need to define your dedicated BI tool that you'll be using going forward. And I just want to check that is it really advisable or companies to use multiple BI tools? Let's say, like as we've mentioned, that Power BI is more powerful on the visualization, and it's easy just to import or maybe connect directly to different streams, right? But then when it comes to other things, it's not capable of doing so. So would you advise in that regard that maybe companies should have multiple, at least more than, let's say, not multiple, let's just say more than one BI data?
Yeah. Okay.
Can I get in there? I just want to check the other colleagues, maybe in addition to what he just asked now, just to get another perspective from other friends and colleagues if they have any question. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, go ahead.
So I wanted to find out in terms of the business intelligence, for instance, on my side, currently we do the analysis of data using Google Sheets or Excel, right?
Yeah,
so now if we want to bring in the business intelligence, do we pull out the data from, say, Excel or Google Sheet, then import it to the side? Or how does it work?
Okay, so
Copy paste thing or
no. Yeah, so okay, so let's say you use, I like when you said you use like Google Sheet and stuff. Google Sheet is more around like when you're trying to be like more collaborative, right? Let's say, exactly. So let's say multiple people are in on one sheet that they populate data in that, and then everybody else can see what's happening, right? So you can literally on whatever, if let's say it's Power BI, right? You can literally connect as I don't know how to use those tech words, but it's just literally connect through to that source, which is your Google Sheet, and you can actually have like your slices and your charts in your Power BI, And whenever you populate in your Google Sheet, it will automatically go into your Power BI, and you can see it from the dashboard there. So you don't have to do a copy and paste, whatever.
So is it using something like I don't know if you know about data dear. So are we using something? So data dear is something that is normally being used in Excel to extract information, maybe out of a financial system. So is it something similar?
Like you mean from where? From Power BI or from your Google Sheet?
No, I'm talking about the Power BI into Google Sheet into Power BI.
No. It's just to stream your data from your Google Sheets, right? So if you wanna extract it from Power BI, you can do that the same way as you extract data from other sources as well. So you can literally say export, right?
Okay.
Yes. It's either you can export it to text or Excel again. So it's up to you.
All right.
Yeah.
And then lastly, you spoke about the licensing. And then does it need the latest version of Office? So I'm currently using 2010. Will it be compatible?
You mean with Excel?
Yeah, Excel, and like when I'm trying to use this, maybe Access or BI, the Power BI.
Yes, it will be definitely compatible. Any version, actually, they do cater for that. Even if you have like, okay, it's been a long time since I used 97, Office 97. So
Okay.
that one is quite far. But I know even SQL 2019 still use that version of Microsoft Excel 97. So like, because also remember Power BI is Microsoft product, right? They also design of any version that they have with other product, just your Excel, whatever. Or wait.
Because on my desktop now, I'm trying to pull the Microsoft, what is this? Access. But it's only showing Word in the others. And I'm using the 2010 version. Is it because
Oh, okay. So it didn't come with the suit. So remember, when you buy, so when you buy the Office stack, which is like a program, right? You have like multiple, program like your PowerPoint, whatever. I'm not sure which one you're using, Enterprise or is it, because it also depend there as well. So normally it have all of them with access as well in there.
Okay.
So
if I need this, I just need to upgrade.
You just need to upgrade it. If you're using something like Enterprise, it should be there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks.
Unless if you use that key, those key can where you try to activate it using torrent websites.
No.
Okay. Okay, cool. I think there was a question around which one is.
Yeah, I'll also just suggest again. I see Lala, the mic is on. I don't know whether she want to ask the question. He or she want to ask the question.
Okay, no questions.
Oh, no, okay.
As yet. Okay, so I just wanted to touch on, I think there was one question where they talk about like, is it advisable to use multiple, BI programs within the firm, right? So like I said, it depends on what you want to do. So if you have people that are quants, that are mathematicians, obviously you advise them to use SAS. That's the number one thing, right? Which is giving you a flexibility of, in terms of what you want to achieve from their workspace. But if you want to, like, you have like your people like your HR or whatever, you can literally use Power BI, which is simpler for them to use, or they can navigate themselves, whatever is user friendly and stuff like that. It depends on what you have. You can have multiple because of it. Also advantage that each one make use of whatever tool is suitable for them within the organization. But it's also I mean, cost as well depends there as well. Like if you're big on a budget to say less, a budget on these programs or licensing of these programs, then yes, you're good to go. But if you have less budget, then just choose one, which is more suitable. The best thing that I will advise is the one that everybody can use, which is Power BI. You don't want to put something there that nobody can use it. You just one guy that is there at the corner. And if that guy is sick, nobody can use it. You become less, productive with that thing. I hope maybe that covers that.
All right, great. So yeah, other colleagues, I see.
Let's talk, guys. Let's talk, guys. This is quite fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask Walter. I'm quite interested in the knowledge you're dishing right now. Are we by any chance going to be having maybe in the future classes whereby there's an elaboration? Because now I see like what you're doing now, you're talking from a very high level. In as much as I'm following what you're saying, but then are we going to have like classes whereby maybe we just take, for instance, access and just deal with critical things in it and then off to the next one? Maybe like the Power BI.
Yeah, so we can have that like the intro to say here's how you can do it, like a kind of like a tutorial, right? So many of us normally we learn some of these programs through YouTube or Udemy or whatever case may be. Those kind of programs, they give you nice explanation as well, deeper explanation. And also remember, it's also best if you learn these type of programs when you are faced with a challenge. So in that moment, you learn more than be in a class. First of all, we can have an intro class like you're suggesting now, right? To say, here's yes. So here's the program. It looks like this. If you want to do something like this, you can do this, like an intro kind of thing. But if you want to dig deeper into it, you have to have like a problem that you want to solve. You know what I mean? And then if you want to solve that problem, you can literally, do a what I used to like to call it in university days, where you do a kind of like a dropping and dragging from internet and try and see how they do it there. How can I do it on my side? Those kind of things. There you learn more actually.
Okay.
Yeah. You become even like an expert actually, without being an expert.
Yeah. Okay. No, thanks.
Okay. All right. Yes. So any other comment, suggestions, advice? I think now is just to say maybe we should be answering the question. Then from here, where to? Yeah. I believe Frida, she already suggested there to saying we can perhaps maybe have an intro to something like access. Where from here, friends? Yeah. Maybe that floor is open for such inputs.
Okay. Yeah, no. If I can come in, Tops.
Yeah.
Yeah. So firstly, I would like to thank you all, starting with Kabiru, for this great initiative. Indeed, it has benefited us a lot. You know, from my side, I thought I knew certain things, but these kind of sessions, they did prove that there were actually certain things that I did not know at all, and actually I've learned so much. And to hold again, I think what you shared with us is invaluable, and in terms of the way forward, I think it is quite important. And I think my sister she has already suggested that maybe we need to have some kind of session. I'm more interested in the BI as well, and that's where actually so I'm in that field as well. So maybe to have some kind of sessions where we can deal. I mean, the data is all over. We can get the data like now coronavirus. We've got different kinds of hubs where actually we can extract this data and import it, into the Power BI, play around, incorporate some tax formulas, and visualize the data, and maybe publish it from the desktop into the Power BI portal, and those who have got mobile, so that they can have that picture, on your slide 16, are able to see that the data will still look the same. So I think that's one thing that maybe we can be able to do. And maybe my interest as well is more about moving to the cloud. Some actually are using the Azure, and look at advantages of moving from on-premise to the cloud, and what are the advantages when actually we migrate our SQL databases or whatever applications that businesses could have. One thing that, Walter, I just wanted to check with you very quickly. I know that the Power BI portal or service is got an option where you can be able to set your refresh schedule so that you always get the latest data. It goes and reads from the database, and your dashboard can always be refreshed so that whatever that you see, for example, we can reschedule to say every 5 o'clock p.m. So my data must actually refresh. So if the data now has been deployed into the Azure environment, is sitting there, is it going to actually refresh automatically, or maybe you still have to actually move those ETLs into the Azure environment as well, so that they could actually run just like that?
Okay. So remember the cloud base and the local base, right? So it's just the analogy to say either I'm storing in the physical or I'm storing in somewhere where I can literally access it while I'm on the move, right? So there's not much difference in terms of that. So you don't have to, take your ETLs into cloud for you to be able to stream it into your local instance. So you can still have the same settings as you have with physical, and also have the same configuration as when you refresh it, as if you have it on your local. The only difference there will be your like the timing of like retrieval of the data. Remember, you're on cloud, you're retrieving it through data, right? So if your network connectivity is bad or kind of a thing, right, then obviously like you'll have an issue with that, right? But if your network, like your throughput from your cloud to your Power BI instant is quite good, then there's no issue. Same as when you have data on your local. So similar things, similar analogy. It's just that there you can access data on the move, and the other part where like your data is sitting on your physical, the only place that you can access that is through physical means, like having access to the actual hardware, and accessing it through your credentials or whatever. But with cloud, you can only access it, through your like your profile only, wherever you want.
Okay, right. I think we have 5 minutes, right? So let's perhaps maybe consolidate on the way forward, right? What I've written down there is maybe we'll need to look at. It seems like I think this BI, there's lots of interest from the floor. Then maybe we can have something to do with the intro to access. Yeah, I think we will arrange there. I think there are lots of things that will build up from there. Access. And then maybe we can, from there, if there's still that comfortable, we're still comfortable around it, then we can talk about BI or other tool that is there. We may not necessarily able to exhaust all the tools, but I think as long as you can have fundamentals around how do you package, or how do you source, how do you manipulate, and then how do you present the data. So I think if we can maybe, I believe access may give us those clues to say where or what kind of things do we look at, right? Then, and then we talked about the issue of cloud. That's something that is already on the plan. I've already had the plan around this to say, maybe on a high level, not necessarily talking about artificial intelligence or analytics, but just to say, what is cloud computing? Cloud computing being from the, as you mentioned, maybe from the tooling side, from AI or all those things, but also more importantly from personal from personal perspective. As an individual, how does the usage of cloud computing affect me? And then maybe talking about affecting me, that's when I'll talk about the third point, where we talk about cybersecurity. How does that usage of maybe Facebook, I believe Facebook is regarded part of a cloud solution, right? Or even Gmails and all that. So maybe I think I'm thinking of that going forward. We'll have a session where we talk about cybersecurity from different perspectives, being from organizational side or also from personal. Because as you know, there are quite lots of attacks there. People get hacked and all that, right? So these are the three things that I think we can build on. And I think the more we talk about cloud computing, there are other elements that will come out there. Artificial intelligence, machine learning, blockchain, all those things. So I think then we can build from there. I'm comfortable that we're having there's a base that we can build from. And unless if there's any other dimension that one needs us to look at, as I said, it's not necessarily about IT specific, but we can look at from different angles. I'm thinking that maybe one day we should be having something like, obviously this finance is very big thing to talk about, but we can zoom it to relate it to some of these things that we talked about, right? I've already talked to someone from agricultural economics, right? Who he thought he will come and share with us something. So my aim is that let's broaden the scope so that we don't have to be experts, we don't have to be gurus with all these things, but we need to be in a position to articulate, to say what are these kind of things means to us, So I'm not sure if there's any other points in this regard from you colleagues.
They said include the Power BI there.
Yes.
Maybe, yeah.
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 Any other thing that we think we can look at? Are we comfortable with this one?
Yeah, so far from my end, I'm comfortable with this.
Yeah. All right. So then I think this is what we will be communicating to the other brothers and sisters, so that in the next few weeks, I think this will take us up until December. I think we may not necessarily have on a weekly basis, maybe every second week, so that we able to prepare and at least to give each other the time to breathe and prepare and make some research. But I've sent you I believe everyone is having my email address, that online bootcamp with Mutlogwe. That's where your colleagues can put your suggestions, your ideas of how we can improve this, because indeed it's just about us uplifting one another, so that as I mentioned earlier on, that it's just about us having an understanding around how these things connect to each other. Because I think where we are going, it's no longer it's not about being one dimensional now. We need to be multi-phase environment that we are facing, so we need to equip ourselves in line with that. Yeah. So I don't know, maybe from Walter, the last comment.
Yeah, so like I said, I mean, there's so much to learn in terms of like data analytics or data science field. You won't learn everything. Even myself, I don't know everything in that space, but whatever you get out of that is quite useful, because of, like I said, data analytics is here. Everybody is embracing it now. And yeah, I mean, it's like the skill set of today and tomorrow, right? So you have to maybe embrace that so that you become diverse. Whether you're in finance or whether you're in HR or whatever, you just have to be diverse in terms of skill sets. And through this, you'll be to be able to be equipped to have such skill sets. It's not advisable to be in one area, like in this market that we see ourselves in. Things have evolved quite rapidly since the last 10 or 15 years. So we have to be diverse. Even I myself tapping into audit and other areas that I can grasp the knowledge of. It's just that if you stick into one area, then you become redundant sometimes. But my advice is try and play around with this stuff. If you go to YouTube, whatever, there's a lot of platforms. I mean, information is out there that you can literally go in and try and research and to be equipped with this kind of knowledge, and it'll help you going forward. Yeah, okay. That's it.
Okay, great. So I think what then I'm already seeing here is that I think this BI element, Walter and John, I will officially task them with this task so that they will take us through these components around the BI in general, and of course these specific tools that are there, right? And yeah, any other comment from you colleagues? Right. If none, then I will be communicating via LinkedIn and Facebook. We will try to get this Twitter territory, although it's not my it's not my area, so that I think people there, they are also quite active so that they can know about it. And of course, it's really about us sharing this kind of feedback with our colleagues, our friends, so that they can join us. They can join us in the next session. So please, let's do what you call word of mouth, that thing there. So please, let's be talking and encouraging other friends to join us. So our next session then, I thought it will be cloud computing, but perhaps maybe let's have a session around Access database. That's what I'll be communicating going forward. And then I'll put another schedule like I did with the 5 session of Excel to say what are the next ones. So as I mentioned, Access, Power BI, cloud computing, cybersecurity, and then other related topics. And then please drop me an email if you have another suggestion in terms of what do we need to look at. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, friends. And let's meet next week or next of next week. I'll communicate the date. Thank you.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.